Hello! It's been a while, and Deltarune is almost here. I'm so excited. Yeah. So, Deltarune chapters 3 and 4 are coming out on June 4th for most of the world, June 5th in other parts of the world. So, I wanted to do a little recap kind of thing of my thoughts on the trailer that came out in April and all the other stuff. I'm actually really excited for the new chapters to come out because I have some analysis videos I want to work on, but I think the new chapters will have more information to make my claims even stronger. Just more to chew on, more information about characters, more themes and confirmations, and even more questions posed. And, it would be nice to do something with a real script sometime. So yeah, let's jump right into all the promotional material and new stuff and things like that. So my experience with this trailer is waking up after about a month of suffering and recovering from this horrible dizziness that I've had recently, and I put on my brand new glasses to check my phone. And there was a new trailer! Basically, all of the Discords that I'm in just sent out notifications about it, so I just saw those immediately as I woke up. I love this trailer. I think it's so cool. First of all, I love how they used the original intro music that Toby came up with, and they redid it, and they remade it all nice, and it sounds really nice. I love the dichotomy of Chris's reaction to Susie and Rose. Like, with Susie, they, kneel down lovingly and, reach out, but then they just get up and they just kind of, look at him. All right. Then, of course, after this, we got a little combination of both new and old footage. We get to look at the secret room, some enemy battles we've seen before, but with improved UI, and then this rhythm section with everyone dressed in these, glam rock fits. I love this section so much. I mean, if you know anything about me, you know I love rhythm games and stuff. And I love seeing everyone in different outfits. It's so fun. I saw some people thinking this section was in Castletown, but I'm pretty positive it's a section in the Chapter 3 Dark World, especially because I think that we'll be getting just a bunch of mini games basically, which I think is fun. And that was confirmed further to me with the borders in the Nintendo Switch pictures. We will talk more about these borders later because apparently there's controversy or whatever. They give us some cool insight into a lot of different parts of the game. I've also seen people think the secret room is related to Friend, which I will touch back on in a later section. These darker, more sinister segments with just Susie and Chris invoke a visceral emotion in me. Deltarune is really good about balancing really unsettling or creepy moments with moments of just silliness and happiness and goofiness. And so I feel like this trailer does a really good job of showing that aspect of it. These parts are just kind of cut the crap. We had silly Dark World shenanigans with the Darkners in Chapter 3, but we're seeing the underbelly of it now. Ralze isn't here, and it's just the two Lightners, the two real people. The church is falling apart, and there's just these two people who have really grown a bond working together to survive. The lighting is darker too. By the way, I've seen a strange amount of theory about the lighting in these segments. I just considered it was just the dark lighting, just the church is dark and there's stained glass reflecting any sort of light. But I also enjoy the interpretation that everything is getting darker than dark. That's why the lighting is so drastic. Any other theory than that is honestly just kind of silly to me, sorry. But I mean, who knows? we will know on June 4th. But anyway, I think that Chapter 4, especially with the amount of light world segments, is going to be really focused on quote-unquote reality. As I mentioned before, the only segments that we see with Chapter 4, besides some later stuff that we'll get to, is mostly focused on the two Lightners who can exist in both the light and dark worlds, while Darkners can only exist in their, character forms in the dark world, making the light world technically the reality of this game. Another thing I was thinking of is maybe a dark world made during the night is so dangerous because it's even more colorful, even more fun, even more distracting and engaging and hard to leave. And maybe this is why, despite it probably just being Toby Fox wanting to make kind of a fun minigame chapter, maybe this is why Chapter 3's world has so little story, and Chapter 4 will be more conventional, because it was made at night. I genuinely think these 3D-esque segments of Tenna are part of the game. The description credits all the assets made for the trailer specifically, but there's no credit for TV head animation or anything like that. I think that's really interesting. That sepia animation at the end is really beautiful too. Temi really has a sense of weight in her animations. This is an aspect of her art that I've really loved and enjoyed throughout all the little clips and animations that she's posted on social media throughout the last couple of years. You can see it specifically in how Chris recognizes an incoming threat, then prepares themselves to fight with the sword, somewhat bracing themselves against the wind. It's a really good showcasing of weight, character, and physics. Also, it's interesting to see Ralze doing the opposite of the other two. They look up, then prepare to fight, Ralsei is bowing down and only looks up until the very end. I mean, Susie kind of does this too, but it's a little more subtle and with a struggle. This isn't a theory or whatever, it's just me musing about the strong character acting and weight of the animation. Last thing, I fucking love the dog costume. I was really hoping they would bring it back to this trailer, and they did. I wonder if Toby was wearing it like he was last time. Fangamers should bring it to PAX and stuff. I think it would be really fun, and you could take pictures with it. But I mean, I don't expect Toby to be in there. If that's the case, that would be kind of a liability, but it would still be fun to take pictures with and stuff. There were a couple of other things dropped with this trailer, including extra screenshots not included in the trailer, an updated website with the countdown, and of course, a newsletter. I like this newsletter a lot. Toby talking about how excited he is to get his game out and people playing it. It's very heartwarming and also a little comforting knowing that we're not alone in the excitement and insanity of the wait. With the somewhat recent controversy surrounding Nintendo's pricing, it feels refreshing to have someone who knows their games will sell well still price them like this. Although it does feel a bit too humble in my opinion. I would have willingly played $40+ for chapters 1 and 2, not to mention all of the chapters being added in as free DLC. Same with the soundtrack, although Toby does address this himself, so I think he's aware he's pricing himself a bit short. And I do understand that Toby has already seen great success with Undertale and even, like, just the merch for Deltarune, but just someone saying I don't feel comfortable pricing something around what I say there will be feels refreshing compared to Nintendo's variable pricing thing they have, and knowing that people will buy their overpriced games. And this being a launch title for the Nintendo Switch 2, which had so much controversy surrounding the price, it just feels very refreshing in my opinion. We also got some information on version differences. Notably, I think the watch the cute loading screen for a bit longer under Nintendo Switch made me laugh, but also makes me excited for a cute loading screen at all. Maybe we'll have like the fun gang as silhouettes in their respective colors walking or something. So the Steam listing for the game included some extra screenshots, but so did an article published by Go Nintendo, which included some borders for these screenshots as well. If you're not aware, Undertale and Deltarune are sized in a certain way that doesn't accommodate for the sizing of a Switch or a TV. So the ports of those games include a little illustrated border. It's very cute and honestly it matches the mood of most of the areas really well, which I really enjoy. There was apparently some like controversy surrounding these screenshots given out to Nintendo news sites and the like. I guess some people started making conspiracy theories on if they were real, even like emailing the poor employees of these websites. I feel like that's personally a waste of time. There could be a lot of like legal issues that I've heard of if these like associated with Nintendo sites were giving out false information or even leaks. So I don't email these employees about that, guys. Come on. Anyway, on this in these screenshots, we also got to see this cut sneaking segment that was referenced in a newsletter, which is baffling, but I guess it's just in the game or like a gag. I don't honestly know what to think of this. We also got to see Tenna, presumably, on the borders of this Nintendo Switch version. I think common consensus after the trailer switched to Tenna literally being a disembodied TV head on a TV screen. But then we saw this border thingy and people got thinking again. Personally, I like both designs. I wonder if they're kind of gonna be like, you know how Queen shows up on the TV or like the big screen and she's talking to everyone? I wonder if maybe Tenna won't show up in person until like the very end and then we'll see him in his like full design. I've also seen some interpretations of this design as a snail, like the antenna are the eyes and then he has a snail shell on his back. And even though I don't think it will be real, I really like it. I like it so much. It's so cute. One of these includes a Jockington grows a beard thing that Toby mentioned during the Fangamer livestream like 4 years ago now. Like probably a lot of you, the new newsletter that Toby teased was pretty much the main thing I was looking forward to all week. And like apparently a lot of you, I misread Toby's tweet as saying it was the end of the week he posted it and not the week after. But the wait was worth it! Let's talk about it. So in this newsletter, we got more clarification on the release date of the new chapters. And I think for pretty much everyone, it's coming out sooner than we thought. I didn't really feel the need to count the exact amount of time from the countdown to my time zone, so maybe people figured this out sooner, but it's exciting to me. I'm actually surprised they showed the samplings of the trophies at all. I really didn't think they were any more important than thing Toby reluctantly had to add. He keeps like teasing about how you can only get certain trophies at certain times and how you should just play the game and ignore the trophies. And I didn't think it was that big of a deal, but maybe there's something more to this. I don't know. It's very interesting. I was originally going to clown on Toby for saying they were going to ramp up social media posts because he ended up not doing it until a week later, But then a week later, we got a teaser, and then he's just kept ramping everything up so much more, and I will talk about this later. Toby also mentions in regards to the sweepstakes that nothing outside of the game is necessarily canon, or what he considers canon, i.e. critically important, but that doesn't mean it's not interesting or adds to our perception of the characters of the game or adds more context. So many people want definitive answers from Toby when I think he really just wants to open a conversation about video games in general through his art, and I think these sweepstakes pages are still interesting to look at. Honestly, I feel like it's just a case of a creator not wanting supplementary material to be the only thing giving people context towards his characters and their arcs, and I feel like that's very good. More creators should do that. They shouldn't just direct you to a live stream or whatever where they explain the entire character's arc. I just feel like people always bring this point up as a gotcha, despite not understanding the full context of what he's saying. So, let's go on to the sweepstakes itself. I cannot begin to describe the excitement I felt when I saw the 40 pages instead of 26. Like, my jaw dropped to the floor. I was about to go to bed when this newsletter dropped, but I ended up staying up an extra 2 hours just scouring the website for all the Easter eggs. Just discovering new pages and talking with other fans about it was such a surreal experience. Everyone was really freaking out. A lot of these pages were just really fucking weird. The kind of off-putting vibe of this was personally very exciting to me. Like I mentioned before with the chapter 4 segments of the trailer, I just love when Deltarune gets really weird and unsettling, especially in tandem with its silly happy moments. There are a bunch of interesting puzzles and Easter eggs here, but I want to talk about the things I find most interesting in my personal experience discovering them. These not applicable pages have some interesting theories surrounding them, because chapter 2 is applicable, but chapter 1 is not. Some people have theorized this means the weird route, but what's interesting about this though is chapter 3 says not applicable, but if you hold down or repeatedly tap your left arrow key, it says but, and by chapter 4's page, we don't even get anything like this before. We just get a new puzzle to solve. So I wonder if this means that the weird route becomes obsolete, or once you're on the weird route past chapter 3, you're stuck on a very different path, or something like that. On a similar note, the chapter 5 page shows a series of numbers from 1 to 5 in different sizes, some of them being entirely obscured unless you highlight them. Weird, huh? I've seen people think this relates to the weird route again, as 2 plays the song in the weird route when you fight Burley, and 3 plays the sound that plays in ROM, which is another thing we'll get to, but I'm not sure. I do think it's interesting chapter 5 is here at all, and when you click the big old 5, it plays a slower guitar version of the hometown theme. Very des. Anyway, this email page was super weird and interesting to me. A lot of people, including me, thought the 2 fields were for the passwords, but it turned out it was an email form. Probably obvious in hindsight from the unknown contact thingy it says at the top if you don't enter an email, but I think a lot of us just pass it off as gastery weirdness. So it turns out it was an email form. The tab reads, how long did it take her to smile? And if you entered your email but no message, it says she never smiled. But if you do enter a message, it says thank you. And then later you got an email back from Toby Fox. If you entered a period of time, your email will report back to you what you entered. But if you didn't, you'll get a blank email, like me. Spooky. My favorite part is the sender is still Toby Fox for all of this. Like, not even Royal Sciences or DELTARUNE or even Fangamer. It's just funny to me. Like, hey Toby, what did you send me, bud? Oh. I loved these new blog posts by Noelle. Even in the original sweepstakes, I loved the blog post from Noelle. I feel like it really confirmed how weird she actually is. She's just like kind of a quirky weirdo who enjoys glitches and Easter egg hunting and blog posting and old internet kind of stuff. And I enjoyed seeing that side of her, and I enjoy to continue to see it. It's a side that we don't really get in the game itself, but I hope that we'll get more of in the future. But anyway, this whole sweepstakes has a much more mysterious, almost dire vibe from the other one. So I like that the new blog page that we get is in that similar dark grayscale kind of look that some of the other more serious or character-driven ones also used from the original sweepstakes, like Newest Girl, Egg Ones, all those. We got some insight into Mayor Holiday, how she's willing to call a school just to have her daughter not walk in a downpour. I wonder, she seemed to always be intense, but I wonder if her cold nature towards Noelle specifically only started ramping up after Dessa's disappearance. Also, Caddy is just very cute here, and very gay. Like, girl, you know what cat petters is. Do not try to act like you thought you were the one getting pet. Anyways, I thought that was very cute. Very, like, repressed gay teen crush stuff. Lovely. I also like how Noelle spells aura, and that she says silly-rific Angle wing. The jongler reference is crazy. I completely forgot that it's actually in the game. Anyway, this cat minigame thing is so fun and silly, and I did not expect Friend to make a reappearance. I really did not think that Friend was anything more than just kind of like a creepy Easter egg that related somewhat to Spamton's descent into madness, but this really confirms that it's much bigger deal than like I thought. And also, Friend being confirmed as like a cat or like a cat-like being or just being labeled as a cat, I guess it makes sense since Spamton is also cat type or whatever. Also, that thing on the roof, hello? That was frightening. This is definitely much more significant than Noelle brushes it off as, and I'm very excited to see what's going on here. I love, like, the idea that there's something spooky and cryptid lurking in Hometown. I think that's very cool. Also, Chris mentioned, although their relationship is still strained, which I think that's really interesting. I really love the idea that Noelle and Chris's relationship is very strained, and they don't really feel comfortable with each other. Maybe they did once upon a time, maybe with Des. Or I also really love the idea that Chris was closer to Des than Noelle. And while they were friendly and they played together as kids, they were always just closer with Des. And ever since Des's disappearance, Noelle and Chris are just completely strained. Also, I completely forgot about this, but I remember reading this little tidbit about the coaster cart of Birdly and not really caring because I didn't think Friend was going to be very important, but maybe Friend could be somewhat connected to the weird route or messing with how the game is supposed to go. Like, Friend is the vessel in which Birdly's fate is carried. Or something. These windows are interesting. I've seen so many cool interpretations of parts of the stained glass. There's some cool ones. Overall, I'm just excited for more and more confirmations that the church is going to be very, very important in the next chapters, especially chapter 4. I love religious themes being deconstructed. Also, fun fact with these godforsaken windows, I wanted to try and work out the anagram that's in the URL when you click on the windows, so I got out like scrap paper and started writing down the ending of the URLs without realizing it was just the poor children over and over again. And at this point, I had already found the Poor Children page with help from other fans, so I was just working for nothing. The fact that the page is called The Poor Children uses language that's very reminiscent of pitying someone or even just mourning like a situation. And the tab being called Therapy makes it very apparent that there is some sort of trauma going on here. And these darker aspects seem like aspects that Deltarune has kind of been hinting at or wanting to explore, but it's exciting to see them a lot more potent here. Like, Des's disappearance probably was very traumatic, and it's already very apparent that there's stuff that our characters aren't letting us know, whether because they don't actually know anything themselves or they're blocking it out because of said trauma. And the fact that this tree that's used for both the forest and the dark world, and also the Eggman, only shows up when you draw enough might point towards some sort of art therapy. Like, the child doesn't remember what happens until they draw in therapy and understand their situation better. This entire page almost gives like Petscop vibes to me. I don't know, it's so like unknown childhood trauma resurfacing as you grow older, and that feeling of aren't you forgetting something? It's just very mysterious and interesting, but also potent in a lot of themes that people can relate to. It reminds me of that one section in Petscop where the player is playing games with a counselor. That feeling of being a kid and not really understanding why you feel the way you do, or what you've gone through, or even why these strange people are trying to help you at all. Also, this Lost Where the Forest Would Grow page, damn, that is weird. I've seen some people theorize this means lost in the bunker, as it's a space in the forest replacing the trees. I think that's a pretty cool idea. It could also mean lost in a dark world in the forest. I guess also probably the bunker. Like, the forest was supposed to be there, but instead it's a completely different fantastical world, similar to how Castletown exists instead of the supply closet, etc. Cool to note how it's the depths overlaid on this tree, which, or otherwise known as like the Goner Maker background, and also the dark fountain texture. Also, Jockington's silhouette thingy uses this same pattern. A pretty significant addition is in this green room page. If you click in this area, you get a mysterious pair of double doors. And if you click on that, well, it depends on what you do after you click on it. So if you click on it and you press Control A, there's like a mysterious little thingy that moves around. So if you click on said mysterious thingy, it goes up in the air with that same sound that plays when you click on chapter 3. in the chapter 5 page. And then the tab says, "You can never defeat us. Let's rumble." And I think it would be kind of cool, and other people have as well, if these were the secret bosses, these us in question, and they were named Ram and Rom. Let's rumble, let's ramble, let's romble. It would be fun. But what's also interesting is that if you don't click on this mysterious thingy and you just let the page kind of sit there, you'll get this thingy. It reads, "If only you had the... your luck might have gone another way. No crystal." And if you click on the blank spaces, it does give that same weird sound. Weird, huh? It feels very Shaw-y, based off what Sham says about the Shadow Mantle. It's really interesting, but I think it's definitely a little hint about our secret bosses in the future. So, a good bit after Toby teased posting more on social media, the official Undertale accounts posted this clip. Chris at the docks with more of those creepy dust things from Chapter 1. I'm pretty sure this is Chapter 3, as it's the same docks area we saw in that pic from the newsletter, which also includes these blob guys that were seen in the other promotional picture of Chapter 3. But man, how cool is it that these freaky thingies are back? I'm excited to see what comes of them, seeing as they're not just in the supply closet anymore. I've seen some people think they might be like dust, or like dust clouds, dust particles, seeing as the TV remote was also dusty, but I guess we'll just have to see. We also see a point system being shown off here. Cool. I wonder what it'll be used for. I mean, it seems very, Chapter 3 has a lot of gimmicks, so perhaps it's another gimmick there, but that's so interesting. So, a little later, Undertale's official accounts posted this promotional video showing off this enemy, Gui? I haven't actually checked how to pronounce that. They speak broken Chinese, though, and we can pacify them using exercise to tire them out, which is a really cute pun. And also just more confirmation that there's some sort of church dark world going on here, with the talks of like spirits and exorcisms and stuff. If not specifically a church dark world, then perhaps just overall a spiritual kind of atmosphere. A lot of people, including me at first, thought something was very wrong with this clip. The lack of music, the check option being labeled as useless analysis, the use of tutorial flavor text in a later chapter, the use of everyone instead of certain characters, and the overall mysterious and unsettling nature of Chapter 4 in general. At first, I theorized the promotional teasers on Undertale and Deltarune's accounts would be metatextual, creating the look of a normal piece of promotional content while intentionally leaving in off-putting or edited aspects to make the viewer unsettled, or maybe even lead them to a false sense of security. But I don't believe that anymore. I think similar to how Chapter 2's promotional content had edited portions, this teaser was edited purely to introduce concepts to the uninitiated. The tutorial text is only there to explain how the magic system works to someone who's new to the game. Remember, Deltarune is now going to be a paid release, and they need to make sure they're appealing not only to the current fans, but new ones as well. So, it's not out of the question they would add more stuff, or leave out details such as like the money one. Also, it is important to note any sort of like legal trouble they could possibly get in if they lied about promotional material on a paid game. I feel like people don't talk about that enough. And I just thought that I felt the need to bring it up. I do understand the feeling of mystery, though. I mean, I was also kind of on this camp at first. Chapter 4 is incredibly odd and mysterious, and we don't have a lot of information about it. So I understand, but I think we need to think a little more logically here about, like, promotional material. We also got this goofy Windows Movie Maker shitpost of the Shadow Man, who still reminds me of Jigen Daisuke from Lupin, but and we also got concept art by Gigi of the Fun Gang in their glam rock outfits. Finally, confirmation of what these sprites are supposed to be. Maybe? These are only concepts after all. Like, Ralsei doesn't have his pink horns or glasses here like he does in the final. I do think it's interesting that what many interpreted to be a shirt tied in a knot is actually a skull charm and a chain belt. I did not expect that at all. I don't know how to feel about this outfit, honestly. Even later, we ended up getting a new song teased, along with a picture of Lancer's sprite on a blue background. Many, including myself, have thought this simple Famicom-esque tune combined with Lancer, who who has a Famicom-esque sprite in the sweepstakes, is hinting towards maybe a Famicom world within the Dark World. Similar, or like even as a reference to the Famicom world in Yumeniki. I'm only calling it Famicom here because that's what it's called in Yumeniki, but for anyone that doesn't know, Famicom is what the NES, Nintendo Entertainment System, was called in Japan. Toby also did this like silly activity on Blue Sky where he provided a meme template and most people who filled it out would get a video back from him as a reply. It was a picture of the annoying dog with a plate and utensils captioned, "What will he eat?" If you edited something in for him to eat, Toby would send one of 3 videos back in response. Him eating it, him shaking his head, or him throwing the plate. This went on for like almost an hour and finally ended when somebody posted the golden chicken for Toby to eat. Toby then posted this. I participated in this. Finally, my chronically online weird behavior has paid off. And I sent 2 whole posts, and he responded to both of them. It was very surreal and fun. I just had to know if he would eat Meadowski, okay? I had to know. One of the Deltarune developers, Fred Wood, posted Toby eating tacos after this event had already ended, in which Toby replied with a video of the plate being thrown back in front of him, which I thought was really funny. But yeah, that's basically all of my thoughts about this whole lead up to Deltarune. I'm so excited. We've been waiting for years for this to come out, and it will change us forever. It will change us. But anyway, let me know what you thought about all of these different things. Let me know what you'll be doing on June 4th if you work, or if you know, are waking up at whatever AM sharp and downloading the game. If you're waiting for your Switch 2, any of the thingies, let me know. I want to talk about it. I think it's so fun. Hello, Delta gamers. It's Scoot. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. It's a little, I don't know, I want to say shorter than these videos that I'm used to doing, but honestly, I don't even know how long this is going to be when I edit it, so who knows. I'm really excited for chapters 3 and 4, obviously. As you can tell, I made a whole video about it, but I'm excited to not only just have new stuff to talk about, but also to just play it casually again. I don't know, to just discover things that are new and not just theorize about things we already know. As much as I love talking with like other fans about things, when I played Undertale, Deltarune chapters 1 and 2, I wasn't really like doing it for an audience or whatever. And I'm excited to kind of just like take some time to myself to really enjoy games that I love. So yeah, I guess just in updates to the channel in general, I want to start making more scripted, better put together videos. I have some topics on Deltarune I want to talk about. I have some topics of other games that I want to talk about. And also just a quick apology for not streaming chapter 2. I know I said I would, but circumstances in my life had changed, and I assume that you all will understand. So yeah, I'm probably not going to stream it until, you know, after chapter 3 and 4 come out. Maybe I can go back to it and replay it with the new context. I think that could be pretty fun. But overall, I think I'm kind of going to take a break from streaming, just for like personal reasons mostly. But I hope I can create more videos and more art, and you guys will be entertained nonetheless. Anyway, if you enjoyed any part of this video, just let me know. And feel free to like, subscribe or whatever if you want to. But I don't know. Anyway, I will see you guys later. Bye! Also, I did some animation for Cammy's new video, so you should all check it out. I mean, you should check it out anyway, because it's a really good video. But I'm also in it, kind of, so yes, you should check it out. Okay, bye! Alright, baby, let's record it up. Okay, I'm gonna test my audio, because it sounds kind of bad. It sounds kind of bad. Literally, why does it sound so ass? Is it finally me, like, keeping my microphone, like, on the floor and, like, crunching and stepping on it is finally destroying it? Oh well. Also, this is... Oh, fuck. Okay, I'll check that later.